But sir, we can't just look here, Johnson. I told you to turn your around. Asking too many goddamn questions. I'm like, I always gotta tell you. But sir, we can't just look here, Johnson. I told you to turn your around. Asking too many goddamn questions. I'm like, I always gotta tell you.
So I want to start off with that because I thought it would be a little bit of a little humor. You know, to some degree it's funny, but to a larger extent, you understand it's the controlling, one of the factions of the controlling hand, you know, showing itself and being caught. So I just wanted to share that because I just like, there it is. And, you know, there's Lex Will's lessons that he's taught on that, you know, right there. Like, I'll never forget when he broke down the Black Hebrew Israelites, you know, on the street corner yelling at all these people that was going by, you know, and talking about the wicked desires they had in their heart. And next thing you know, the cop comes up and he starts doing the okay sign and stuff like that in front of them. And all of a sudden, they all got in line and were like one person at a time talk. When before, it was just total chaos, you know. So, but what I want to share is something that I've been meaning to speak about. I just hadn't found a way to put it in order. So I'm hoping I do it now. If it's confusing, I'm sorry. So let's go to the next step. So in the movie Django, right, one of the things that always stood out to me was in the beginning of the movie, they start off with telling you that the movie takes place, how they say it, somewhere in Texas, right? But they show them crossing a desert earlier on. You know, during the scene that looks like it's straight out of Deuteronomies, right? I saw princes on foot and I saw slaves on horseback, right? So I was always like, okay, well, where somewhere in Texas are you taking these people from, right? Well, I think now we have the answer. So I'm pretty sure you guys seen before that I I I had shown my genealogy that my father, thanks to our grandmother, who's still alive, my older sister and I asked her, she asked her, was there Indian in our family? And she said, yeah, your grandfather used to tell us that he was Indian, he was Choctaw, right? And doing a search into that Choctaw came to be true, you know. So it led us to looking into the Choctaw. Well, apparently the Choctaw come from what Wikipedia says, the West, the far West. So I'm like, that's still not good enough. You know, where in the far West? And I did a video showing that someone had wrote, well, hold on, I didn't even pull it up. Yeah, here it is. Let's see, the Choctaws and the Indian tribes lived in the American Southwest about 1,800 years. They migrated from modern Mexico and Western America and settled in Mississippi Valley area. So there, yeah. So then that says to me, okay, East Coast is not my home, right? Mississippi's not my home. Florida, as much as I love it, that's still not home. Home is on the other side in the far west, right? It's in Mexico as well. So I talked to Arthur Scott about this because he and I, when we did our genealogy, one thing we thought was crazy was how much ours matched, but then how much ours was different in things, right? He had native to Mexico in his, and we're like, that's interesting, right? But he also he was from the what's that place? The islands, it's not the West Indies. I'm talking about the islands in the Indian Ocean. Those around like Papua New Guinea and what's it called, the Adamans Island, those places. So we were trying to figure out where did that come from, right? And how is that showing up? Well, now that with Lexwell's research, we know what people are living in those areas and what was important to there, you know. So, and what's still important to there. So I thought that was great. So um, Arthur showed me that if you look into where in Mexico it says he was from, which I think will do him justice. So I'm going to show his video, right? And if you're not watching his video, go watch his videos because he's doing some good work on this book, the Black Celt.
15% Nigeria. What you say, nigger? 69% is the typical native, and I am far below that. So I just have some traces within their people. Really didn't see too much interesting in Nigeria that would have technically differed. There go that yoke. But that would have technically differed from what I read about Mali. It was kind of the same thing. As soon as those Muslims came in, destabilized everything, separated the people, and they still going through that. So, is it better over here? I mean, do we want to go back to Africa? Because that's black on black as far as I'm concerned. But whatever. I'm not into politics. My third country, which why even does it even really matter? Once it starts breaking down.
We'll see if I can skip it to trace regions.
And other
There it is. See?
native Indian tribes. I'm gonna do a video on that because you can see a little column in one section that says it's a black slave. You can see who's buying the slave over here, and then you can see ethnicity. They'll have like color, but then they'll also have ethnicity. So you'll see a B for black, but then over here it'll be Cherokee. You'll see a B for black, but over here it'll say Choctaw. So I could be Indian on both sides, but depending on the tribe, that's a whole nother story. And I'm not talking about the red man. If I got any connection to him, yeah, it's only 2%. But if I only have 2% Native American, in my mind, this is a thought. If I only have 2% Native American.
See, and pause. And this goes back to the videos I had watched where these people kept saying, we're reading the charts wrong. The large percentage numbers that you see are what they're saying you are based on today's geographics, right? Based upon what people agree would be these people today. The larger or the smaller numbers, the trace regions, are your oldest DNA in you. So those are your original ancestors. So when it's saying Asia and it says less than 1%, based upon these guys that keep telling you that you're reading the charts wrong, told me that I'm reading the charts wrong, his origin comes out of Asia. And then to the Americas. Because everything else, yeah.
In my mind, I feel like that should have been way back in history. Way long ago. Because nobody close in my family looks like a Native American. You know, a few light-skinned people, but nobody's really walking around looking like a red man or carrying red man features. So, I know the mixtures between here and at least 1790 in my family. Red man still ain't there. And he's in such a small percentage that either he's just a small part of somebody else who jumped in the family, or we kicked it with the red man way before Columbus. And, somebody put their finger in the company totem. I don't know what you say. They don't use ink. I guess they do. Anyway, moving on. But that's not really a focus. I'm just going through the ancestry. So after North America, I have Asia South.
Look at there. Look at there. Oh my goodness. Oldest bones found in Asia, right? I did a video on that. The oldest skulls that were found in Asia, older than that were in those caves. They were supposed to be dated to the time of the Peking Man, right? They said they were supposed to be described as sub-Saharan African, but as Arthur Scott's video shows on the what is that called, the Black Celt, sub-Saharan African is really quite a trash term, right? And you got to watch the videos to see what I mean, what the author means. But they're telling you the people that live there in South Asia are not the people that live there today. Or they don't, not the image of what you'll get as soon as you put in South Asian people.
That's India. God dang it. I got my camera mounted, so I gotta move the screen, the actual computer. But I have India and Asia South. Just 1%. But I'm borderline got these four corners down pat. I just ain't related to no Russians. So let's go back.
So here was something that I keep forgetting to bring up. I mentioned it to Vince in our conversations, Vincent and I, when we talk, and I keep forgetting to send it to him. Well, I finally sent it to him, and because right down here, where was it? There we go. This. Let's see. How am I going to do it? Here we go.
WOG. Race, blacks. British, short for gollywog, a stuffed doll that mimicked blacks. Recently was dropped, ref, as the logo used on jars of Robertson's jams and marmalades. Usage, contributions needed. Similar, contributions needed. Submit corrections to this slur. Delight 27. Race, Indians. British imperialists commonly referred to Indians as a WOG, since they were commonly used as security. It stood for Warden on Guard. WOG.
Oh,
Race.
And I was thinking to myself, yo, they are dressed just, especially this guy right here in the middle, right? This would be more like the way they had the Indians in the 12 Little Indians song, right? The cover dress, right? To look just like that. So I sent it to Vince. You know what Vince sent back to me? This. Because he had seen these logos while driving through Arizona in the western states. And he and I had talked about this before, that this looks like dreads and playing the trumpet. This looks like what we see today when they show you Mardi Gras. But you don't see the people like us out there doing this. But after all, we know our people, the Choctaws, and who knows what other tribes were forced out of the West, right? So now Django Unchained makes more sense, right? When it says in the beginning, somewhere in Texas. And remember the whole thing to get for them to be free, they said, oh, we'll take you back to El Paso and you can get your freedom. Like they were bringing them out of Mexico and into Texas now, which was a different territory than underneath the laws of the King of Mexico, right? So I hope you like that. I just thought that was interesting. Oh, he didn't bring it up, but in his videos he explains when he does this, the Native American, that was in Mexico, I believe it is, and it's Chihuahua, Mexico. Chihuahua, Mexico is where his people are from. So that might be a sign right there to now hey, look, you want to know where the Choctaws are from in Mexico? Since they won't tell you, this man's DNA shows you. Chihuahua, Mexico. Which I thought was interesting, you know. So